Just take a second and think about where you are right now. You're probably going about your day, thinking about traffic or what to make for dinner tonight. Everything just feels, well, normal. It's just another Tuesday or Friday or whatever day it is. The world is just turning.
And that's really it, isn't it? We all live under this comforting illusion that tomorrow is going to be pretty much like today. We kind of have to, right? It's how we function. But what if that illusion is paper thin? What happens on the day it just completely shatters?
Because, while we're all living our normal lives, this is the reality buzzing quietly in the background. Over 12,000 of these things, just waiting, in hidden silos on silent submarines. And look, this isn't some history lesson. This is the reality of the world we live in, right now.
For decades, our entire world has basically been held together by this terrifying handshake agreement called mutually assured destruction. It's a psychological gamble, right? The idea that nobody would be crazy enough to start a war they couldn't possibly win. But what if that gamble fails? What happens on the day someone calls the bluff?
Well, if that day ever comes, it won't start with a huge explosion. For you and me, it would start with nothing. Total silence. But somewhere, deep in a command bunker, buried under a mountain, it all kicks off with this. A tiny, silent blip on a satellite screen. An electronic ghost that says hundreds of missiles are in the air. And the moment that blip appears, an absolutely impossible clock starts ticking. The world's leaders have, maybe, 15 minutes. 15 minutes to confirm the attack is real and then decide whether to launch their own missiles in return. Just think about that. The fate of every person on Earth decided in less time than it takes to get a pizza delivered. And the whole thing unfolds at a terrifying speed. Okay, so it's 8 a.m., you're just starting your workday. 2 minutes later, computers are screaming that this is not a drill. By 8:15, your phone finally lights up with that emergency alert we all dread. And just 10 minutes after that, at 8:25, it happens. The first detonations begin. And this, for me, is the part that is just so chilling. Imagine you get that alert, your phone is buzzing off the hook. But what do you do? Seriously, what can you do? You're stuck in your car in the middle of morning rush hour. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing you can do, except maybe pull over and just watch the sky. For anyone in one of the target cities, the sun rises for a second time that day. Except this new sun isn't millions of miles away. No, it's right there in the sky above you. And it brings with it the pure physics of total annihilation. The very first thing that hits is not sound. It's not a shock wave. It's light. A flash of thermal radiation so intense, it's hotter than the surface of the sun. And it's moving at the speed of light. In that instant, everything at ground zero, steel, concrete, people, doesn't just burn. It's gone, vaporized. It's so powerful, so absolute, that the only thing left of a person might be their shadow, literally burned into a surviving piece of pavement or a wall, a permanent, ghostly photograph of their last second on Earth. Then, just seconds after that impossible light, comes the blast wave. And we're not talking about wind here. This is a literal wall of compressed air, moving faster than sound, that just pulverizes everything. It turns skyscrapers into dust and flattens entire neighborhoods for miles and miles. The destruction is simply total. But let's say you're miles away. You somehow, by some miracle, survive the flash and the blast. The nightmare is actually just getting started. For you, the first 24 hours will be defined by two brand new invisible killers. So you have these twin nightmares. On one hand, you've got the electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, a high-altitude blast that instantly fries the entire power grid. All electronics just die. At the exact same time, those mushroom clouds are sucking up dirt and debris, making it radioactive. That becomes fallout, this toxic, invisible dust that's going to start raining back down on you. So within just a few hours, society as we know it has completely ceased to exist. No power, no running water, no internet, no hospitals. Our supply chains are so fragile, the grocery stores would be picked clean by nightfall. All the things we rely on to keep us alive have just vanished. And that horror, it doesn't just stay in the cities. All those individual disasters, they merge, they coalesce into one single planetary catastrophe. We need to zoom the camera way, way out to see the real endgame here. As hundreds of cities burn uncontrollably, these massive firestorms pump an unbelievable amount of black soot high up into the stratosphere. And once it's up there, There's no weather, no rain to wash it out. It just stays there, spreading out and wrapping the entire planet in a dark blanket. And that dark blanket of soot blocks the sunlight. We're not talking about a cloudy day, we're talking about years of twilight. Global temperatures would plummet, kicking off what scientists call a nuclear winter. Photosynthesis across the planet would grind to a halt. The entire food chain collapses. The planet's ability to feed itself just gets switched off. And this is the final horrifying number. The bombs themselves might kill hundreds of millions, which is already unthinkable. But the starvation that follows, in the cold and the dark of the nuclear winter, that would kill billions more. The best estimates put it at 5 billion people, starving in a frozen world. Okay, after walking through all of that horror, it is so important to stop and remember one thing. This is not a prophecy. This isn't a story of what will happen. It is a warning about what could happen. And that really is the main takeaway here. Everything we've just talked about is based on real science, but it's not inevitable. The weapons are still out there, the launch systems are still active, but the choice to make sure this day never ever comes, that choice is still ours. The final thought that just sort of lingers is this. Every single day, we are betting our entire species that system of deterrence will hold. We're betting that no one makes a mistake, no one miscalculates, no one pushes the button. Because if we lose that bet just once, there's no one left to write the history books, no one left to learn the lesson. There's just silence.